Hello, hello, my friends. We have a Kringle Reserve launch to talk about. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you the 6 new fragrances that will be available on Thursday, September 18th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Kringle was kind enough to send over this collection. I did also want to let you guys know that on that day, they will be launching their holiday fragrances as well. There are 6 holiday fragrances. However, I am going to do that in a separate video. I will probably have that one up for you guys next weekend. Honestly, you guys, it's too early for me to even talk about the holiday season. I am just starting to burn some fall fragrances. So I figured, you know what, let's go ahead and just keep it to the fall reserve line for this video. Next weekend, I'll have the Christmas preview up for you guys. But a huge thank you to Kringle for sending these out to me. As always, I'm going to share with you guys my honest thoughts. And at the end of this video, I will do a ranking. I have actually already burned 4 out of the 6 just once. I've only burned them once, but I do hope to have in-depth candle reviews for you guys prior to the launch. So if you like this video, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to my channel if you are new. As always, I will have all of the fragrance notes listed in the description box down below for you, as well as, you know, a reminder of when the launch is. I do also have an affiliate discount code with Kringle that will save 15% off of your full price purchase. It is Katie15. Again, it will save you 15%. But these, you guys, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Personally, I only see maybe one of these being a high risk to sell out on launch day. Possibly a second one, but you know, the reserve fragrances tend to be, they use higher quality oils in them. These are going to be retailing for $34, but I feel like the reserve line and Kringle just in general tend to be a little bit more conceptual in their fragrances. So not only are you going to want to pay attention to, you know, my thoughts and reviews, but there's quite a few other ambassadors who have already gotten these in either PR or we were allowed to pre-order. Being that they pushed the launch back from September 11th to September 18th, I think that's going to give a little bit more time for us to give you guys some more thoughts. You're going to be able to round up some more opinions on these, which I think is good because, again, for most people, you're blind buying these and you probably want a lot of information. So let's go ahead and dive into these cold sniff impressions. I'm going to go ahead and start out with the fragrance Midnight Oud. So we have this picture of some type of owl on the front here. I am not up to date on my owl species. Fragrance notes on Midnight Oud are amber, wood, fir needle, patchouli, tonka, and wood. So as other ambassadors have mentioned, this release, you will notice that the fragrance note that is listed in all of these candles is amber. Amber, I don't know, Kringle's having a love affair with amber right now. So this fragrance, okay. This fragrance to me, I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's starting to smell a little bit repetitive for me from Kringle. I feel like I've smelled this before. Not the exact fragrance. I'm sure that there are, you know, some variances. So again, amber, wood, fir needle, patchouli, tonka, and wood. Now, this is one of the ones I have not yet burned. My daughter liked this one a lot. I definitely smell amber. Like amber is definitely forefront there. Maybe a little bit of that fir balsam in the background. See, like when I stick my nose into the wax, I smell a little bit more of a tree note in here. It's kind of in that vein to me as like Arctic Highway. There was just one in the fall release that kind of reminded me of this. Which one was it? I'll pop a picture up if I think of it and let you guys know. But again, it's smelling a little bit repetitive to me. It's kind of a slightly masculine, perfumey type of fragrance. I smell more of the fir balsam in there, which I do like. It's not like any of the Halloween candles. Maybe. Oh, you know what it might be reminding me of a little bit? London Fog. I think that's kind of what it's reminding me of a little bit. The Halloween candle that had the picture of Jack the Ripper on the front of it. That's kind of what, if you like that fragrance, I think you're going to like that. Although that one had, I feel like, a little bit more of like a saffron note in here. Whereas this is definitely, there's no saffron. There's amber. I'm getting some of that fir note in there, the fir needle. Patchouli, I'm not smelling a ton of patchouli. This one's just kind of got like a woody element. I'm saving some thoughts on this one because I have a feeling that this might be one of those fragrances that once I light it up, I think I might enjoy it a little bit more. But on cold sniff, I'm kind of feel like I don't really feel strongly yay or strongly nay about it. But yeah, Midnight Oud is the first candle. The second one I wanted to show you is Spiced Tobacco and Cedar. We have kind of like a really pretty metallic tobacco leaf on the front of this. Fragrance notes listed here are bergamot, mandarin, violet leaf, lily of the valley, spiced rose, patchouli, embers, black amber, cedarwood, and musk. So oddly enough, there's no tobacco listed in this. Okay, this one to me, if you liked the Cabin in the Woods fragrance, while this is a very different fragrance from that, I feel like this might be a cousin to Cabin in the Woods. You get a tiny bit of like a suede rose note in here, but it comes across a little bit more woody than it does actually like a floral rose. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like a, what does this remind me of? Some type of box that would like hold you know, like a cigar box or something like that. Like my husband every once in a while will get a couple of cigars, and that's kind of what this reminds me of. Not exactly pipe tobacco, but like what they would store, like a vessel that tobacco would be stored in is kind of what this reminds me of, like some type of wooden box. There is a woody element to this. It's different than the rosewood and vetiver fragrance, but I feel like if you liked from the fall collection the rosewood and vetiver, or you like Cabin in the Woods, I think that you're going to like this fragrance. It's kind of like a mixture of both of those, I feel like, together. My nose smells patchouli in here. Yeah, patchouli, embers, cedarwood. Yeah, I see, like I'm getting that patchouli and cedarwood. And I think for me personally, you guys, I'm finding that I don't love the combination of patchouli and cedarwood. It comes across a little bit too hippie-ish to me. It reminds me of a lot of those like when you go to a craft fair and there's somebody who's like a woodworker and they have all of like their wares on display, but then like there's also kind of just like, I don't know. There's something about it that like I don't necessarily love the combination of this one. Now, I will say my daughter likes this fragrance. I did burn this in her bedroom last night and it was very strong. It was pretty strong in the bedroom. Now, that is one of the smaller rooms in the house. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I will do a post-burn review on this, but even just based off of the first burn, this is one that I could easily see myself decluttering. It's just, it's not in my vein. But I will say that I know that there's a lot of people who are loving these types of fragrances. There's a lot of people who love those like earthy, patchouli, woodsy type of fragrances. You're not into the pumpkin spice or the apple or even the outdoor fresh leafy scent. You guys like this scent. And so I think that that's where Kringle is really like, they've honed in on a specific audience with these types of scents. So yeah, I would say if you liked Vancouver Cabin, if you liked, what was it? Cabin in the Woods, if you like the rosewood and vetiver, I would even say if you liked heartwood, then I think that you're going to like this fragrance. But for me, not really one that I am super excited about. The next fragrance that I wanted to show you is Fog and Embers. And before I go into anything more, you know, it's funny, you guys, I am still going to give you guys the video, kind of the vlog video talking about my experience to Kringle a couple of weeks ago. It, gosh, was now about 3 weeks ago that I visited in store. And I did get a little bit of a tour of the factory afterwards. And I'll talk about that more. But one of the things that is interesting is that when I was kind of doing my behind the scenes tour, I did see some of the labels. I didn't see the vessels, but I saw some of the labels. And I remembered asking Joe, who is the marketing manager, I said, is this going to be part of the new reserve line? And he said, yes. So it's kind of funny. I saw the labels and now I actually have the product in my hand. But Fog and Embers, we have fragrance notes once again, amber, cypress, aromatic, fern, and moss. So again, this is the other one I have not yet burned. Now this one is interesting, you guys. This one I would say is definitely more in like a clean, fresh type of vibe, almost like a men's body wash or something. Like that's kind of the vibe that I get from this. on cold sniff, like just right away, that's what I get. I get kind of like a green element, but it's very fresh, almost in some ways slightly aquatic, which I know a lot of people would say like fog and embers. That sounds kind of weird. But what I'm smelling here, the fog element is kind of like what I think is that aquatic element. It does remind me of kind of like a foggy morning. It doesn't remind me of aquatic, like I'm sitting on a beach, or this is like a men's summer cologne. It's not aquatic in that way. It's clean, but here's the thing that I'm smelling underneath. The more that I smell this, it's saying Cypress, Aromatic, and Fern. I think the Cypress note is what's very like clean in this. The Fern and the moss, and they're saying something aromatic. The more that I stick my nose in this, this is not a smoky scent. So the name Embers in here, you might be thinking like, oh, that would make you think of like a hearth type of fragrance. There's nothing in that. But you know what this kind of reminds me of? The more that I smell this, this is like what it would remind me of the very few times in my life that I have gone camping, because I am not an outdoorsy kind of girl. I'm married to somebody who is very, very outdoorsy, and I have gone camping like twice. This reminds me of the fragrance that I smell like on, you know, the mornings are nice and cool. They're overcast. Maybe you've gone camping and you've had a campfire the night before. This something of like what like your campground would kind of smell like. That's what it kind of reminds me. The more that I keep smelling this, the first smell, I get that cypress and that very clean, you know, vibe. But the more that I sniff this, the more I get my nose into it, there is a little element of like, I would say like lingering coal embers or something from the night before, like woody embers. Again, it's not overly woody. It's kind of like a sweetness to it. This one's a little bit harder for me to describe, but this is one that I do plan to light up this evening. I'm really curious to see what this one does upon burn. I actually think that this might be really nice to burn with like warm and toasty, or the ghost stories. I don't know. There's something about this one that I'm pretty intrigued by. But again, I feel kind of just like, I don't feel like it's a love right now on Cold Sniff, but it's not a hate either. So that is what I think of Fog and Embers. Now let's go ahead and talk about one that I think a lot of people are really excited about. This is the fragrance Ambered Apple and Walnut. And of course, a lot of people are excited about this because just based off of the label, we're thinking this is a gourmand, right? Fragrance notes on Ambered Apple and Walnut are sweet apple, walnut, peach, caramel, praline, coffee, buttered woods, whipped mocha, brown sugar, and amber. I did also want to let you guys know that the pour date on all of these candles, it looks like is May 29th of 2025. Let me make sure all of them are. Yeah, so these were poured a little while ago. These are not like super recent pours. Okay, so, oh, here's the thing about this one, you guys. This is a gourmand. This to me though is not, this is an elevated take on like a caramel apple fragrance. I like this. I really, really like this one. And in fact, this morning when I burned it, I still liked it. On Cold Sniff, this is very much sweet, slightly tart apple forward. Like that's the first note that I pick up. It's a very, very sweet apple. Almost where you're like, apple. However, I get a little bit of that walnut. It's not an overly nutty fragrance here. It's not like an overly praline or walnut. Like that's not the front and center. The front and center is a very, very sweet apple fragrance. The caramel note I'm getting in here, it's funny. Like I'm getting all these other notes that they're putting together here. The caramel note in here is coming across as kind of like a, it's like a perfect caramel. It's not too deep and rich and buttery and thick caramel, like not too rich of a caramel, but it's also not the, and I say this in a very, I don't mean this in a demeaning way. It's not those like artificial caramels that you get, like the little like square craft ones or whatever that you can get at the store. It's like a perfect balance in between. This reminds me very much of the fragrance of like, I don't live in an area where I'm going many places where they're doing like freshly dipped caramel apples, but like sometimes at my Costco, they will set up like a candied apple station. And this is what this fragrance smells like as you walk by it. That's what I get here. This is very much like freshly dipped caramel apples. This is not your Bath and Body Works cider lane. This is not fall cider from Caramel Sundays. This is not the caramel apple from Homeworks. Those three fragrances are very, very similar, and those scents to me are very much the artificial caramel forward with an apple note, pretty balanced in it. Whereas this one is definitely more sweet apple. You get the caramel note with it, but you get a little bit of like some nuttiness, some more savoriness, I feel like, to this. This is very, very well done. Again, this is an elevated take on a caramel apple fragrance. I actually really, really like it. I was surprised because I wasn't sure if this was going to be like super perfumey. It's not perfumey apple. It's not Jolly Rancher apple like the Bobbing for Apples from the Boo Crew. I think this is what I was expecting Bobbing for Apples to smell like. If I'm being honest with you guys, this is what I thought it would be. This one's really good. I will say that I think that this is probably the highest sellout risk because it is really the only true gourmand here. But I burned it this morning. It did pretty well on the first burn, decent strength and throw. And I would say that the nutty element kind of came out a little bit more when it was burning, but got to burn that one a few more times. I will definitely have a post-burn review on that one prior to the launch. Okay, and then the other fragrance here that I have in front of me is Forest Noir. So we have kind of like the ground covering of like a green dark forest here. Fragrance notes on this are fir balsam, lime, lemon, ginger blossom, cedarwood, clove, leather, oud, amber, and patchouli. Now, this one I burned again last night. And again, you guys, this is in that fragrance family. There's more greenness to this. Again, if you like Vancouver Cabin, if you liked Rosewood and Vetiver, it's kind of in that same family. Kind of hippie-ish to me. This one has more of a green element to it, whereas the, what was the other one there? The tobacco one. What was it? Spiced tobacco and cedar. That one to me has more of like a little bit of that like suede rose note to it mixed with a cedar wood and a patchouli, whereas this, I get patchouli, I get cedar, but I get some zestiness from citrus. There's a little bit more brightness, but this is not like a summer or spring, even spring citrus to me. I think the citrus note in here lends a little bit of like wow, to that. But again, this is kind of, it's not my favorite. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't love this one. I burned it in my bedroom last night and it was very, very strong. But again, this is in that category of just, it comes across a little bit like earthy and hippie to me, and it's just not really my favorite. But I do think, again, there's a lot of people who are really enjoying these types of fragrances. There are aspects about it that does make me think of like the fall. The more I smell it, I do get some oud in there as well. There's kind of like a dampness to this fragrance. That's what I think of when I think of like oud fragrances, of like an oud wood. There's a little bit of dampness to this, but I think that they put those citrus notes in there to like not make it too damp, or maybe to make it seem a little, I don't know. This one is just, it wasn't my favorite in my bedroom. But again, maybe it was too strong in my bedroom too. So maybe that's why I didn't love it. But again, this is not a fragrance that I would have picked up off of the shelves and said, ooh, I want that to come home with me. It's not really in my wheelhouse. And the reason why I say that is because I know that there's some of you guys who watch me because we do have similar fragrance preferences. And I feel like being honest and saying like, hey, this one, I'm not really loving the fragrance. I'm not saying that it's bad. It's just not really in my wheelhouse. I feel like that's helpful for those of you who share similar fragrance preferences as I do. Or maybe you have different ones and you're like, oh, well, I typically like the ones she doesn't like. So that might be helpful to you too. Okay, and the final fragrance that is being offered is Pumpkin Oud. Now, I do really like the simple label on this one where we've got a couple of white pumpkins and a couple of orange pumpkins. Fragrance notes on this one are fragrance notes are pumpkin, spice, amber, ginger, cinnamon, and cedar. So this fragrance, this one's good, you guys. This is a nice, this is like a very sophisticated spiced pumpkin type of fragrance. Whereas I feel like so far, this is like, Kringle has kind of done really well with like spiced pumpkin fragrances this fall. You know, their Halloween lineup, they had, what was it? Pumpkinhead, which has kind of like a heavy like orange with pumpkin spice. They had their Little Devil, which is very similar to like Yankee spiced pumpkin. It's got some clove and soft cinnamon mixed in with the pumpkin, very like neutral gourmand pumpkin fragrance. This to me, again, is like spiced pumpkin elevated. That's why it's part of the Reserve line. There's something about this that smells just slightly more sophisticated. Yeah, I really like this one. You get the pumpkin, the spice, a little bit of ginger in here lends a little bit of effervescence, but this is not like a ginger forward candle. The cedar in here is very toned down. It's not overly woodsy. The cinnamon note is not super spicy. It's a very soft cinnamon. But I am going to tell you guys, you know, it's funny. I was burning this last night and it's not the same fragrance. I wouldn't even necessarily say it's the same fragrance family. But you know what fragrance I actually am considering burning this alongside with is Homeworks' Palo Santo Pumpkin. There was something about this that kind of was reminding me of that fragrance. Now that takes on the Palo Santo note in there. Palo Santo can come across a little bit like woodsy and smoky. And there's nothing smoky about this. I don't want to say that it's smoky, but this is kind of like a very sophisticated fragrance. I feel like if you're somebody who likes, what's the other fragrance? Obviously, if you like Palo Santo Pumpkin from Homeworks, if you like the mahogany pumpkin that was part of the trio from Homeworks, you're gonna like that. If you like from Bath and Body Works, they had like, what was it called last year? Like a farmhouse pumpkin and spice or something. There was like kind of like it was like a pumpkin note with a little bit of patchouli. I personally didn't like all the patchouli in there. But if you like candles kind of in that vein, I think that you're gonna like this one. This is just a very sophisticated pumpkin spice type of fragrance. That's the best way that I can put it. I really enjoyed this one burning last night a lot more than I anticipated. I feel like the woody element comes out a little bit more when it's burning. Like I said, there's a cedar note in here, but it's not overly like cedar chest cedar. It's not that heavy. This one is just done very, very well. So let's go ahead and do my ranking really quickly here. So that way I can share with you guys, you know, just off the top of my head, you know, if we have similar fragrance preferences, just on my initial, you know, I've had these for about 24 hours. I burned a couple of them. These are my thoughts. So coming in at number 6 is going to be Forest Noir. This one is probably my least favorite, although it is very, very strong, but it's just not really in my wheelhouse. I'm going to go ahead and say right now, number 5 is the Spiced Tobacco and Cedar. Yeah, it's nice, but again, it's not, I don't love this as much. I found that I like tobacco fragrances mixed with a little bit of like a boozy element. I will still say from Kringle, my favorite tobacco fragrances or like fragrances in that wheelhouse have been Smoke and Oak and what was the other one? Oh, the Halloween one last year, the Skull and Sonnet. Those have kind of been my favorites. Coming in at number 4 right now, I'm going to say is the Midnight Oud. You know, again, don't love it, don't hate it, but it's kind of perfumey to me. Number 3 is going to be Fog and Embers. Again, there's something about it that I'm intrigued by. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Here's going to be the surprise, you guys. Surprisingly, number 2 for me is the Ambered Apple and Walnut. This is good. It's good. It's a good gourmand, but I have to tell you guys, my favorite of the 6 is Pumpkin Oud. I really, really enjoyed burning this fragrance last night. There's something about this that is just, I'm somebody who loves a good pumpkin spice scent. I don't need it to be pumpkin spice latte and I don't need it to be overly gourmandy. There's just something that's very comforting to me, but this is very elevated. It's an elevated take on pumpkin spice. And I really, really like it. So this is my favorite one. right now of the collection, but the ambered apple and walnut is not far behind it. It's a very nice fragrance as well. Personally, you guys, I'm just going to say probably if you were to have placed all 6 of these in front of me and said which ones would you have purchased, it would have been those top 2. Those are the only ones that I think I really would have purchased. The jury's still out on fog and embers. Once I start burning it, my opinion might change, but yeah, that is where I am at right now. So let me know in the comment box down below if any of these appeal to you. Are any of these on your wish list? I would be curious to know, based off of my thoughts. And also I know some of the other ambassadors are starting to share their thoughts, not only over here on YouTube, but also over on Instagram and in the KRINGLE Facebook group. And like I said, next week, I will make sure to have a video up for you guys sharing my thoughts on the Christmas collection, because those 6 candles I do actually already have in my possession as well. They sent them all in the same box. I kind of gave a little snapshot of it on my Instagram stories the other day. They did send all of them in the same box. So I will make sure to share my thoughts on the Christmas candles with you guys prior to the September 18th launch. So anyways, you guys, if you like this video, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing if you are new. I do want to say thank you so very, very much for spending your time here with me today. And until my next one, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.